A very good evening, all of you. Hope you are doing well. Today we will start with a new story, that is A Letter to God, written by Gregoria. A Letter to God, written by Gregoria Lopez Fuentes. So that is, he was a Mexican writer and poet and novelist and journalist. Basically, he wrote about Mexican Revolution. Basically, most of his writings are based on about Mexican Revolution. So today we will start this chapter. This is basically a story of a farmer and his belief, immense faith in God. Let's start it. Okay. So you should follow your books. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. So, crest means the top of the hill, where the only, underline only. So, he had no neighbors around him. The only house was there in the entire valley and sat on the crest of a low hill. It was actually located on the crest, on the top of a low hill, right? From this height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with flowers that always promised a good harvest. So we all know that the ripe corn dotted with flowers, the flowers actually, it ensures good harvest. Farmers can understand this very well when they see actually that the field is filled up. The field is filled up with flowers, so they can assume that they are going to have a good harvest, right there. So the only thing the earth needed was a downpour or at least a shower. That is the thing that was required at that time, as only a downpour or at least a shower that was required. শুধুমাত্র একটু বৃষ্টির দরকার ছিল, একটু জলের দরকার ছিল. Otherwise, the whole field was actually filled up with flowers and ensuring the good harvest. The only thing that was required, underline, the earth means the soil needed, was a downpour or at least a shower. Throughout the day, throughout the morning, Lencho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. So whole day long he was awaiting the rain. He was awaiting the downpour. He was waiting for at least some rains so that the soil can get the required moisture from it. Now we are really going to get some water, woman. So he actually told this to his wife. So now we have come to know that Lencho is the main character of this story, and he is talking to his wife after watching the northeastern sky that we are really going to get some water now. The woman who was preparing supper, the light dinner, replied, "Yes, God willing." So God is with us. He is definitely going to help us, as we require some rain at least. So God willing, God is ready to help us. The older boys were working in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them all. Now, remember, there was only one house, but maybe they had many members, right, in the family. So the older boys, the aged ones, the older ones, they were working in the field. That is the only source of income. And while the smaller ones were playing near the house, as you people usually do. I used to do in my time. আমরা খেলতাম না বাড়ির কাছাকাছি, আবার বকাও খেতাম বাড়িতে আসতে একটু দেরি করলে, সন্ধে হয়ে গেলে। So the younger ones were playing near the house until Lencho's wife called to them all, come for dinner. So dinner was ready. It was during the meal that, just as Lencho had predicted, as Lencho had already predicted that we are going to have some shower today, that Lencho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. So it started raining. Big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountains of clouds means the humongous clouds gathering over there, where in the northeast part of the sky could be seen approaching. The air was fresh. As you all know, you can feel, তোমরা নিশ্চয়ই দেখছো যে বৃষ্টি পড়ার সাথে সাথে এয়ারটাকেও অনেকটা ফ্রেশ লাগে, একটা সতেজ লাগে অনেকটা। So fresh air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. So the man means the Lencho. Lencho couldn't resist himself. In the excitement, he went out to have the pleasure of feeling the rain. He wanted to feel the rain on his body, right? He was eagerly waiting for the rain because it will ensure good harvest, right? So just to have that pleasure, he wanted to feel the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, he was very much excited, these aren't raindrops falling from the sky, they are new coins. Big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are fives. So he immediately started calculating about the earnings he would going to get after the harvest. So the big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are fives. So this part you can say that we can highlight as Lencho's life. Point number one, Lencho's life. Okay. So I think first part is clear. If there is any doubt, pause the video and go back and read it once again, watch it once again. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain. Draped means covered. Draped in a curtain of rain, as if the corn with its flowers are all covered with a curtain of rain. But suddenly, what happened? A strong wind began to blow, and along with it, the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. So, you know, hailstones, বাংলায় আমরা বলি শিলা বৃষ্টি, যেটা হয় এরকম বড় বড় বরফের মতো পড়ে। So, hailstones began to fall. So this is very much dangerous for cultivation. পুরো crop নষ্ট করে দেয়, জানো তো? তো but suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. These truly did resemble new silver coins. So these hailstones are actually look like silver coins. The hailstones look like silver coins. scattered all over the field. These truly did resemble new silver coins. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. Frozen pearls, you know, white দেখতে হয় বলে ওই hailstone গুলোকেও frozen pearls বলেছে. It's really getting bad, exclaimed the man. So, it's really getting bad. Now, Lencho can understand what is going to happen now. It's really getting bad now. I hope it passes quickly. I hope যে তাড়াতাড়ি জিনিসটা ওভার হয়ে যাবে, এই হেলস্টোনটা বন্ধ হবে, it will stop soon. It did not pass quickly, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen. For an hour the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. পুরো 1 ঘন্টা it continued raining and the hailstones continued to fall. The field was white, as you can understand. The entire field was white, as if covered with salt. Now the hailstones, the সল্ট, এটাকে হেলস্টোনটাকে বলেছে, হেলস্টোনটাকেই সল্ট বলেছে, কিন্তু এটাকে আমরা সল্ট কেন, সুগারও বলতে পারতো অথর, সুগার কেন বলেনি, সুগারও তো হোয়াইট, বাট দেয়ার ইজ আ সেন্স অফ বিটারনেস, সেন্স অফ বিটারনেস in his mind as his crops are going to be damaged. Sugar একটা পজিটিভ অ্যাসপেক্ট থাকে, বাট সল্টের নেগেটিভ অ্যাসপেক্ট। সল্ট কি করছে, সল্ট কেন বলেছিল না, এটা ড্যামেজ করছিল তাই। দ্য ফিল্ড ওয়াজ হোয়াইট অ্যাজ ইফ কাভার্ড উইথ সল্ট, রাইট? এটা মনে রেখো, এটা থেকে কোয়েশ্চেন আসে, ওয়াই নট সুগার? Because he had a sense of bitterness in his mind. He knew very well that his crops are going to be damaged. His whole field would be ruined soon. So, not a leaf remained on the trees. Now you can visualize the situation. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. সমস্ত কর্ন ডিস্ট্রয় হয়ে গিয়েছিল। কিছুক্ষণ আগে পর্যন্ত যেটা লেঞ্চো আশা করছিল, হি উইল হ্যাভ আ গুড হারভেস্ট দিস ইয়ার, বাট অল দ্য ক্রপস all the corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Flowers যদি চলে যায় প্লান্টস থেকে, সেখানে কখনো ক্রপ আর হবে না। লেঞ্চো's soul was filled with sadness when the storm had passed. So he stood in the middle of the field and said to his sons, a plague of locusts. Locusts, you know, you have seen in many movies. Locusts, the insects which fly in big swarms, egg ঝাঁক আসে তারা, and they destroy the whole crops, the whole field actually. A plague of locusts, an attack of locusts would have left more than this. More than this মানে অন্তত লোকাস্ট যদি অ্যাটাক হতো, লোকাস্ট যদি অ্যাটাক করতো তাহলেও কিছু রেখে যেত। বাট দ্য hailstones, as it continued for 1 hour, actually destroyed the whole field. The hail has left nothing. This year we will have no corn. That night was a sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. So he was lamenting. All our work, all our toil was for nothing. And there's no one who can help us. We will all go hungry this year. এই ইয়ারে আমাদের সবাইকে starve করতে হবে. We will all go hungry this year. So we will not get sufficient food or enough food for this year. So এই পার্টটাকে আমরা একটু হাইলাইট করব, ফোকাস করব, যে সেকেন্ড পয়েন্ট, that is number 2, Lencho's hard times. Lencho's hard times কোনটা? When the rain started and after that the hailstone started falling and it continued for 1 hour, and you know how it had damaged the whole crop. And he said even locusts, attack of locusts have left more than this. So you can visualize the situation, what happened to Lencho's field, right? So that is the thing. এই part পর্যন্ত, this is Lencho's hard times. Now, third section. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley. Solitary means lonely. So I had already told you earlier that there was no other neighbors around Lencho's house. His house was only the one located over there in the top of a small hill, and but in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope. Everyone in that family, all the family members, they had actually a single hope, that is the help from God. So third point, we can write, single hope, help from God. That was the only hope left. But in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope, that is help from God. Don't be so upset, even though this seems like a total loss. Remember, no one dies of hunger. It might have been said by Lencho's wife. That's why they say no one dies of hunger. All through the night, now see, Lencho thought only of his one hope, that is help from God. All through the night, he only thought about this, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, as he had been told, maybe by his parents, generation wise এটা হয়ে আসে যে help, God is there to help you. If you are good by heart, God will definitely help you. So the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything. So God actually can see everything. He might have seen Lencho's condition also, wretched condition. And even what deep in one's conscience. Lencho was deep in one's conscience means even what is deep in one's conscience, what is going on in your mind, God also knows that. Okay, so Lencho was an ox of a man. Ox of a man, this is, he is very laborious. He works hard in his field. Lencho was an ox of a man working like an animal in the fields, but still he knew how to write. So this is a contrast. He actually belonged to a labor class. He was a farmer basically, but he knew how to write. This shows that he was literate. Okay, so he knew how to write. So the following Sunday at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mail. মেল মিনস ইউ নো, একটা লাল এরকম বক্স থাকতো, তোমরা দেখোনি, এখন তোমাদের কাছে লেটার রাইটিং অবসলিট হয়ে গেছে। আস্ক ইউর প্যারেন্টস যে আমাদের সময় মিডিয়াম অফ কমিউনিকেশন কিন্তু একটা ছিল। আমরা দুর্গাপুজোর সময়, নববর্ষের সময় আমরা আমাদের আত্মীয়দের চিঠি লিখতাম এবং সেটা মেল বক্সে গিয়ে পোস্ট অফিসের একটা মেল বক্স থাকতো রেড কালারের, তাতে ড্রপ করতে হতো, রাইট? যদি না হয় থাম্বনেলে দেখে নিও, থাম্বনেলে ইমেজটা দেওয়া আছে। সো he would carry the letter the following Sunday at daybreak. With the daybreak, he started writing to God a letter which he himself would carry, যে নিজে নিয়ে যাবে কোথায়, to the town and place in the mail, drop in the mailbox. It was nothing less than a letter to God. It was nothing but the letter to God. God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. So this is the letter he actually had written. God, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos. Pesos is the currency over there, Mexican currency, in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes. So there is a doubt. Oneke bole 100 pesos. He asked for 100 pesos for sowing. No, this is wrong. This is wrong. Actually, read once again. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again. So this is true. He will use some part of this 100 pesos for sowing again and to survive by getting some food for his family. Until the crop comes, because the hailstorm ... So he had written like this. He wrote to God on the envelope, envelope opore. So normal A4 যেরকম তোমরা শীট দেখো, এখানে লেটারটা লেখা হলো and এটা ফোল্ড করে একটা envelope ওটাকে প্লেস করলো, put the letter inside and still troubled went to the town. Though he was anxious, tensed, nervous, but worried, but still he went to the town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter. একটা স্ট্যাম্প কিনে ওই এনভেলপের উপরে ওটাকে পেস্ট করতে হতো। So he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. One of the employees. So this is you can say that this part can be said as strange address, because he is going to send a letter to God and he went to the town to post the letter. He himself went there and bought a stamp, pasted it on the envelope and dropped it in the mailbox. So this is a strange address. You can say this part. And what was written on the envelope? Only one word, God. Now, one of the employees who was a postman, যে বাড়িতে বাড়িতে গিয়ে ওই লেটারগুলোকে ডেলিভার করে, postman, and also helped at the post office, and he used to work, assist the other in the other works in the post office. So one of the employees who was a postman and also helped at the post office went to his boss laughing heartily. Boss means here the postmaster. Okay, went to his boss laughing heartily and showed him the letter to God. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. So as a postman, he had never known this address. The postmaster, now a fat, amiable fellow. Well, what was the description of the physical description of the postmaster? Amiable and fat, amiable means friendly, fellow also broke out laughing. He also started laughing, the postmaster. But almost immediately he turned serious and tapping the letter on his desk commented, "What fate!" So he was surprised. He never expected a human being having such faith on God that he could write a letter too. So, what faith? I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God. He had starting up a correspondence with God. So, immediately আমরা যেটা এর পরের পার্টটা যেটা পার্ট করব সেটা হচ্ছে পড়বো আরো, সেটা হচ্ছে সলিউশন। From the post office. So that is the part. Now, he was struck with the show of immense faith, and he hoped that if I had the same faith like that man who wrote this letter. So, in order not to shake the writer's faith, writers means here Lencho, the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea. So he hit upon a plan, came up with an idea, answered the letter. So he is going to answer the letter. He himself, on behalf of God, is going to answer the letter. But when he opened it, when he started reading it, actually এতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত এনভেলপটা দেখেছিল যেখানে শুধু গড লেখা ছিল, রিসিভার্স অ্যাড্রেসটা লেখা ছিল, রাইট? তো এবার যখন খুললো ভেতরের যা ডিমান্ডটা যখন সে দেখলো, হোয়াট ওয়াজ দ্য ডিমান্ড? টেল মি, হোয়াট ওয়াজ দ্য ডিমান্ড? 100 pesos, right? 100 pesos for, he will use some part of it for sewing again and to buy their food for the family. So in order to so he started, when he opened it, it was evident that to answer the letter, he needed something more than goodwill, ink and paper. এতক্ষণ যেটা ছিল সেটা কি কি ছিল? পোস্টমাস্টারের মনে goodwill ছিল, and he will require ink and paper, right? Just to give an answer. But when he opened the letter, he realized that he needed something else. And what was that? 100 pesos. তাই না? সেটাই দরকার, তো সেটাই তো ডিমান্ড ছিল পেপার লেটারে। But he stuck to his resolution. He was determined to help the man. So he asked for money from his employees, underline. He asked for money from his employees. He himself gave a part of his salary, and several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. He even asked some of his friends to donate something on this charitable mission. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos, so he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. So he could gather only a little more than half, that means more than 50 pesos only. It was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos. Now, how did he collect the money from his employees? He himself gave some part of his salary, and he requested some of his friends to donate in this act of charity, right? 3 point kintu mone rekho how he collected the money. But still, it was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos. He was only able to send the farmer a little more than half. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lencho and with it a letter containing only a single word as a signature, God. So he wrote the address, Lencho's addressটা লিখলো আর নিচে নিজের সিগনেচারের জায়গায় শুধু একটাই ওয়ার্ড ইউজ করলো, God. So up to this part is clear. So we can also say that this part can be described as Good Samaritans, because there was goodwill to help Lencho in his wretched condition. The following Sunday, Lencho came a bit earlier than usual. Following Sunday, he came to the town again, to the post office again, a bit earlier, to ask if there was a letter for him. And he immediately asked if there is any letter for him. It was the postman himself who handed the letter to him, while the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed. So, whenever you do some good work, you help someone, you help your partner, you help your friends in his studies, right? You help your friend in his studies, suppose, or you help your mother, there is a feeling of a contentment, একটা তৃপ্তি, একটা স্যাটিসফ্যাকশন কাজ করে না? তো সেই রকমই postmaster, he was very satisfied. At least he managed some amount of money which will help Lencho. He thought that. So, with the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed, looked on from his office. So, he was peeping through the window or something like that. Lencho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money, but how, what belief, what trust this man had on God, the faith on God, that he didn't even startled. So there was not the slightest surprise on seeing the money in his face. Such was his confidence. He knew, as if he knew very well, God is definitely going to help him in some way. But he became angry when he counted the money. God could not have made a mistake. God is to mistake kora possible na. God to mistake kortei pare na. God could not have made a mistake, nor could he have denied Lencho what he had requested. Lencho jeta request koreche সেটা কেউ ডিনাই করতে পারে না গড, বিকজ গড সব কিছু জানে, সব কিছু দেখতে পায়, as Lencho used to believe. Immediately Lencho went up to the window means the counter of the post office, to ask for paper and ink. So post officer ওই কাউন্টারে উঠে গেল, আবার গিয়ে বলল আমাকে একটা পেজ আর একটু ইঙ্ক দিন, I want to write another letter. So on the public writing table, তোমরা জানবে না, পোস্ট অফিসের একটা পাবলিক রাইটিং টেবিল থাকতো, সেখানে বসেও লেখা যেত, চিঠি লেখা যেত, দাঁড়িয়ে লিখে নিতে হতো। On the public writing table, he started to write with much wrinkling of his brow. This signifies his anger, caused by the effort he had to make to express his ideas. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp once again, which he licked and then fixed. Lick koreo ota boshano jeto, stamptake fix kora jeto. So he licked and then affixed to the envelope with a blow of his fist. So immediately bhalo kore হাত দিয়ে ফিস্টটা দিয়ে চেপে he fixed it properly. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, and obviously Lencho left the place. The postmaster went to open it. The postmaster actually was very curious about the letter, what he had written right now. It said, so the letter was that, God, of the money that I asked for, that is 100 pesos that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. So I have got only 70 pesos. So now you know that postmaster actually managed to collect 70 pesos. It was written earlier more than half, now specific 70 pesos. Right? From the second letter we have come to know. Only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, 30 pesos. Send me the rest since I need it very much. I need it exactly 100 pesos. So send me the rest part since I need it very much. I don't, but one thing, don't send it to me through the mail because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Signature, Lencho. So, but this time he requested God not to send the money through the post office because the post office employees to him are a bunch of crooks. They were a bunch of crooks. This means he got that idea that the post office employees must have uh, taken away a few pesos from that envelope that was actually addressed to God. So this last part is, you can say, the irony. Why irony? Because the postmaster and his employees and the friends, they were good Samaritans. They had a good will to help a wretched person, but a helpless person. But that person actually thought that these people had taken away his money. So this is the irony, this last part. Okay. And what is a bunch of crook? Crook, again, C-R-O-O-K, crook, dishonest person. He suspected that, Lencho, that they must have taken away the money from the envelope. So that is the thing. That is a letter to God. Hope you have understood it properly. If there is any doubt, please you can place your question in the comment box. I will definitely try to answer. Thank you. Thanks for watching.